le musée propose depuis peu et jusqu'à septembre 2017 une des expositions dont il a le secret intitulée « L'art de DC, l'aube des super-héros ». Jean-Jacques Launier, le commissaire de celle-ci, nous l'avait fait visiter récemment en nous présentant quelques-unes de ses merveilles. Et profitant de l'inauguration de l'exposition, le musée accueillait Lindy de passage à Paris. Cette costumière britannique a été récompensée d'un Oscar pour son travail sur le film Topsy-Turvy en 2008. Elle a également travaillé sur de nombreux autres films, du plus modeste aux plus gros blockbusters, que ce soit James Bond, Tomb Raider ou la trilogie Dark Knight de Christopher Nolan, jusqu'à Wonder Woman qui débarque sur les écrans en juin 2017. Mais quelle que soit l'échelle du film, le travail fondamentalement reste toujours le même.
Well, in the terms of how you design costumes, no, there isn't any difference. Your work is the same work, and your considerations should be the character that the actor's going to play, and your collaboration with the production designer, the director, and the actors is the work of a costume designer. It's a collaborative design process, not an individual artistic, behavior.
Faire des costumes, c'est donc avant tout prendre en compte le corps de ceux qui le porteront. C'est un travail collectif, mais aussi presque charnel, qui ne se résume pas à une simple dimension artistique détachée de la réalité.
Well, it's the actor, isn't it? You can see when you see Pierce Brosnan and you can see Daniel Craig how very different interpretations of person can be James Bond. And if you look at Roger Moore and then you look at Sean Connery, they're not the same kind of person at all. So first of all, as I just said before, it's about the actor that's going to wear the clothes. And then I think for me, with James Bond, when I started to do GoldenEye with Pierce Brosnan, I wanted to modernize him and make him more of an international or a European kind of guy, rather than an Englishman. And then I went for a European suit maker, the Brioni company. And I persuaded them, hoped them, asked them, begged them to make his suits tailor-made, but to make them in the Italian lighter weight, softer, really extremely expensive new fabrics, and just to give him a lightness and a sleekness which he hadn't had in the previous Bonds for sure, previous two anyway. And then when Daniel Craig came along and I did Casino Royale, I dressed him also with Brioni in Casino Royale, but then when I left, they changed and they dressed him in Tom Ford. And I think you can see there's such a difference in the look there. And I don't feel so happy with his, with that look. It's much too modern for me. It's too tight and modern. Yeah.
James Bond ou Batman, tous ces personnages projettent une forte dimension iconique. Travailler sur des costumes de luxe ou des armures est après tout une question de style, de forme et de silhouette pour faire ressortir une personnalité. Mais ce travail requiert de grandes connaissances techniques et une expertise de tous les matériaux disponibles, surtout lorsqu'il s'agit d'améliorer l'armure de Batman.
Well, with Batman, it's easy to answer because in the first film, Batman Begins, we weren't able to do what we wanted to do as much, I think. But in The Dark Knight, I was wanting to change the suit completely. I had wanted to, but now I was able to. Oh, my first inspiration really was Nike trainers that I had, and I was looking at how they were made and how they had meshes and elastics and plastics and molded pieces. And I thought, that's the way. Why would somebody wear something heavy and hot and difficult when actually a training shoe now would be something lightweight, molded, you could put it on and lace it up really tight and it would look cool, but it wouldn't give you a problem. So that was my first jumping off point with that. And then I also started to investigate the advances in the military and what they'd done for soldiers to wear under their, uniforms for protection, the Kevlar and everything. And also there was a company I worked with called Dianese, which is a motorbike protective wear company, and they made, plated body armor, which was in lightweight, molded urethanes. And so putting all that in a sort of mixing pot, and how it came up with the new Batsuit, which of course Chris Nolan really loved, and Christian Bale loved even more because it took away, pounds and pounds or kilos and kilos of weight off him, and the air went through the metal mesh. Yeah. The making the bat suit was about 6 months' work, which is fast, you know. And I used to say it's like designing a car, you know, because every piece, first of all, we drew it, then I drew it, then the concept guys would draw make a glorious picture. Jamie Rama, one of the main ones, a fantastic guy, would make a wonderful finished drawing of my drawing. And then a sculptor, Julian, would then take the drawing and sculpt on the body of Christian, on the statue, you know, as it were, of Christian Bale, all the parts, every little thing. And I work with them and, you know, he'd say, no, I think a line here, or this needs to be like that. And on it went until the point where you could make molds from the sculpt. So then you make the molds, and then they had to make the undersuit from the metal mesh fabric, and so the molds would start to attach in all their different places. I mean, everything's just so technical, but really satisfying from a design point of view.
Le travail des costumes n'est pas souvent mis en avant, mais comme le montre l'exemple du film The Dark Knight, celui-ci peut avoir des répercussions sur l'histoire et même le résultat final à l'écran.
It's the conversations about the redesign brought in to the movie, the whole working in Morgan Freeman Fox's department, and you know the idea of changing things. And Chris Nolan, he absolutely made us work to the very last second to try to change the neck in a satisfactory way. And I don't think we were very good to start with. We couldn't get how to do it. It took a long time. But anyway, in the end, I managed to think of a different way of compressing the rings on the neck, which was the only way really that a person can bring their shoulders up and down. You can make it thinner and lighter, but if it's still straight going that way, you can't come up, you know. So there was that. It was obvious really in the end when you think about it.
Si l'ambition de la costumière reste de faire un western réaliste, loin d'un film de cow-boy un peu cliché, ces différents projets lui ont permis de s'essayer à toutes les périodes et tous les genres. Par exemple, le film Wonder Woman, prévu en France en juin 2017, impliquait de faire de nombreux costumes des années 40 et de la période de la guerre, mais aussi tout un côté plus fantastique.
The Wonder Woman film, as you know, I'm sure, is the sort of origin story of how a princess in an island of Themyscira became Wonder Woman, or Diana Prince became one. She became Diana Prince, who then became Wonder Woman. And so the design work for me was very, very happy for me that this beautiful suit here had already been used in Batman versus Superman. So my responsibility for what I had to redesign things about it, but I didn't have to design the suit because Michael Wilkinson already had designed it. And so my job was to design the whole world that the Amazons live in, which had made them come to this suit. So it was like work backwards in my head. So obviously, you know, if this is the suit of the major warrior, then all of the other army and the mother, the queen, the aunts, they all have to have a design connection in style lines or in something to this suit. So it's actually what's called a great gift.
Le travail des costumes recèle en fait de nombreuses dimensions dont on n'aurait pas soupçonné l'existence de prime abord. Variété des époques et des styles, technicité et travail d'équipe. Tout n'a pourtant pas besoin d'être extrêmement complexe pour être satisfaisant, comme par exemple le design de la combinaison de plongée de Lara Croft, portée par Angelina Jolie en 2003. L'essentiel étant d'arriver à concrétiser une vision qui souvent s'impose, une simplicité instinctive qu'il faut arriver à saisir.
It's funny because often when you read a script, if it's a good script and the actor's perfect, what happens to you is you see it then, that moment, and then what you do is you think it can't be that simple. So you go round and round and over and under and everywhere, and then sometimes, or nearly always, you come back to the first image because it's in there and you can't get it out, you know.